If you want to steal me away from this, I'm all yours.
Oh, I understand you're a corporate radio guy.
I'm actually corporate television.
Oh, television, really?
Yeah. What I actually I make commercials for my real job. I do this blog. I interview artists that I care about, and I promote music that I love for the blog on my own free time.
Well, just hit me up for KMFDM music anytime, man.
Oh, all right. It would be a dream to come work for you.
What's fucked up is for about 7 months, I've been in contact with some corporate entity that is part of Walt Disney. Yeah. They were going to use a track of KMFDM for a trailer for a huge movie, like some sort of, maybe not a follow-up, but in the realms of Harry Potter.
Right.
And I hadn't heard from them for 7 months, so about 2 months ago I started emailing the project manager going like, so where are we at? You know, is this going through? And then today, the movie has already come out in theaters, I believe. Today, she just mailed me back and she said, I can confirm that your track is not being used. I'm like, fucking thanks for the late notice.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, man.
So what do you love about music that keeps you doing this?
I just love I just love the feeling that I get sometimes in the studio when I'm working on something, and I'm really like, oh man, this is really fucking good. You know? And it makes me sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I got to step out and have a smoke.
You know, I did meet you one time. It was on the Symbols album, outside of First Avenue. You and Tim Skold, we sat outside and had a cigarette together.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, it was 97.
Yeah. And Tim Skold couldn't believe that I remembered who Shotgun Messiah was. He was pretty impressed by that.
Well, they had a star out there, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, and I'd actually, you know, growing up in the late 70s and through the 80s, I'd gotten into 80s metal and stuff like that. So Shotgun Messiah was one of those bands that started crossing over into the industrial world, becoming more contemporary towards the late 80s, early 90s, when we all started discovering Ministry and KMFDM and Pigface and all that stuff.
Yeah, coming from cock rock spandex pants to fucking Ministry.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest misconception about you and KMFDM that people might think about you guys?
See, that ties into the question you asked me earlier. I don't know, because I don't follow these sort of misconceptions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like a little green leaf, you know?
Right.
I'm unfolding my wings every day, and I think every day that I wake up feeling good and my little family is good is awesome.
Yeah.
And the outside world, to me, is, you know, it's great. I mean, and I love to be on the road. I love to be especially on the road in the U.S. because obviously that's where the majority of KMFDM fans are.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't Twitter, I don't blog, I don't listen to the interferences and that kind of stuff. I mean,
right.
I found it, I did for a while, and I found it really unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a much happier person now that I do not pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Right. You have a history of finding, especially in the 90s, you had a history of finding new bands that didn't have any support and helping them. Do you still do that? Do you still hear music that you hear and go, damn, that's good stuff. I'd like to help these guys.
Absolutely. I'm just, right now, just minutes before I called you, I stopped working on a remix for a band called Sweet Sister Pain.
Mm-hmm.
That is a trio, and one of the guys is the old drummer of KMFDM, Rudolph Naomi, the guy from the 80s period.
Yeah.
And that's his new project, and I'm just doing a remix for them, and yeah, all the time. I mean, there are some secret releases going to happen in the very near future, but I can't really talk about them because they're damn secret. And there are some, especially fond I am that a band from Abilene, Texas, contributed a remix to one of the classic KMFDM songs that I think is absolutely stellar and, born from complete teenage psychopathy. yeah, I totally know what you're talking about, and I totally hear it when I hear it.
Uh-huh.
I know it when I hear it, and I support it all the way.
Yeah.
The thing is, KMFDM Records has been waiting in the wings for something like 5-6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it might be already 7 years. But until now, we reserved KMFDM Records to be the home of KMFDM and closely related projects. But
right.
in the mid-future, like medium-term future, KMFDM Records will become the tool that probably some artists have been waiting for, because, I'm not going for mainstream. I'm not going for anything that's promising. I'm going for shit that I like. And so, yeah, boys.
Yeah.
Boys and girls, here's a chance.
Yeah, well, I'll send you my stuff when I'm ready.
Cool, man.
So, okay, along that line of thinking, apart from the band that just you're working on a remix for, is there any other new stuff out right now that's tripping your trigger that you think is worth people's time to listen to?
Well, there's, you mean like other than KMFDM, right?
Yes, yeah. This would be the point where you talk about...
I highly recommend anything by Comor Commando. Comor Commando is Sebastian Comor of Zombie Girl.
Uh-huh.
I believe that he operates out of Edmonton, Canada.
Uh-huh.
And he's been a long-time friend, and, his shit is really, really, really good.
Excellent.
Let's see, what else? What else can I recommend? New stuff. God, man. I collected so many CDs on this European tour, and I'm ashamed to say that I've listened maybe to about 10 out of 90.
Oh, man.
But there's a band from Australia called Concrete Lung.
Oh, okay.
Out on they're called Armalite Records, out of London, UK. Concrete Lung. Brilliant.
Huh.
Yeah, some songs are better than others, but as a whole, I mean, I'm looking at if someone gives me an album, I'm looking at it as an album.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
like looking for a single at that point, but I'm looking to, detect, let's say, 6-7 tracks out of 12 or so that are rather, and then maybe 5 or 6 that are still pretty good. But.
Right. Tell me about how you write, Sascha. How do you get an idea, go from what's in your head to a final song?
I kind of usually wake up with the melody and the lyrics in my head. Seriously. This morning I woke up and I knew that what I had dreamt last night was going to be the album title and the artwork.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember a lot from your dreams?
Absolutely. I called up Root right after, 10 minutes after I woke up. And I spoke to him about the idea, and he's going to do the artwork according to it.
Huh, that's great.
Keep that in mind, because when you see it, you'll know it.
Okay, I will. Yeah, that's awesome.